We are all drawn to colors in our everyday life. This applies to book covers as well. In 2024, I tracked the number of books that I read based on cover color. Then I decided to see what the average rating was per color. The results were pretty surprising. I decided to look into this a little more. I wanted to know which cover color I usually rate the highest. I want to compare this to how I feel about these colors in real life. The plan is to read 4 books, all from different genres, and take the average rating to see which cover color I resonate with the most. Here are the ground rules. Rule number 1, no DNFs. I have to continue reading until 4 total books are read. Rule number 2, 4 different genres. Not the same for every video, but no 2 books will be from the same genre. Rule number 3, no sequels unless it is an interconnected standalone series. Which color will come out on top? You'll just have to wait and see. In 2024, I read 32 blue books. My average rating for those books was a 2.7. All the books that I rated 4-star and above are currently on the screen, and of these, here are the ones that I rated a 4.5 or 5-star. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I am so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me because today we are reading blue books. This is the second episode in our cover color challenge. Last episode we read green. I will pop up our recap of the green covers and what our average rating was. And so going into blue, I am very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that these blue books are going to do it for me, but you never know. To keep this intro short, let's just go down into the books because you know I like to yap. Hey y'all, so I am on page 246 of the final Strife, which is a little bit under halfway, almost halfway. And so the final Strife, I'm going to tell you a little bit of what it's about. I'm going to read the synopsis because I don't know what's spoilery and what's not. So in this, we have 3 women who band together against a cruel empire that divides people by blood. So you have red is the blood of the elite, of magic, of control. Blue is the blood of the poor, of workers, of the resistance. Clear is the blood of the slaves, of the crushed, of the invisible. And Scylla dreams of her days growing up in the resistance, where she was told she would spark a revolution that would free the empire from the red-blooded ruling class's tyranny. A spark that was extinguished the day she watched her family be murdered before her eyes. Anor has been told that she's nothing, no one, a disappointment, by the only person who matters, her mother, the most powerful ruler in the empire. But when Scylla and Anor meet, a fire burns between them that could consume the kingdom and their hearts. Hassa moves through the world unseen by the upper classes, so she knows what it means to be invisible. But invisibility has its uses. It can hide the most dangerous of secrets, secrets that can reignite a revolution. And when she joins forces with Scylla and Anor, together these grains of sand will become a storm. As the Empire begins a set of trials of combat and skill designed to find its new leaders, the stage is set for blood to flow, power to shift, and cities to burn. So, like it mentioned, we are following 3 main characters. We're following Scylla, Anor, and Hassa. So, Scylla is a stolen, okay? So the rebellion took red-blooded children from their homes and raise them as blue-blooded children. That way, when they entered the trials to become the next leaders, they would understand what it's like them fighting against a dying microphone. So bear with me, this may be a little choppy and the angles may change, but whatever, we're pushing through. So yeah, Hassa is Sila's drug dealer, but then they eventually become friends, and it is definitely kind of sad to watch Sila be um addicted to these joba seeds because it takes her mind away from seeing everyone she loved in the rebellion being murdered, and she thinks that she's the only person left, and so she doesn't have any hope, and so she just kind of drinks and goes through life and tries to escape reality in any way that she can. And that's very sad to see, to witness, and that's why I had to set this book down the first time, but I am making it through it and I am enjoying this. I like our three main characters. I don't have a favorite right now. I feel like that might change, but I am interested to see. I think they're supposed to there's this is a sapphic book and there's supposed to be some kind of sapphic relationship, but we haven't gotten to it yet, and I'm ready to get to it. Sila is like lusting after this guy John, who I'm not gonna say who he is because that's spoilery, but I'm like, don't be looking at that man like, where's your girl? Like, come on now. I'm ready for some something gay to happen. But anyway, this is, yeah, we have just started the trials, and Anor is competing in this um to try to become a person of power. And I think it's very interesting because Sila knows who Anor is, but Anor doesn't know who Sila is. And so I'm wondering what's going to happen once that relationship is revealed, because they're they were swapped at birth. So yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting when that comes out. And I'm ready to see what Hassa's role is going to be, because Hassa is moving in silence. She is making some things happen. She is very sneaky. She's very cunning. And I'm very interested to see what her role is going to be and how she's going to, become a part of this rebellion. And also, I think it's so interesting because the clear bloods have I think their tongues are cut out as well as their hands are cut off. And so they speak in sign language, but it's of course a different sign language than what we're used to because they don't have fingers or hands. And so I'm very interested in Hassa and how she moves through life and how the clear blooded people in general move through life. So I think with this series, I know each girl is on the cover, but I don't know if each book focuses more on the other, because I know this book, while we do get perspectives from each of these people, it's more focused on Silas. So I'm wondering if that's going to continue throughout the series. And so I'm very interested to see what Hassa is going to get up to. But anyway, I'm having a good time with this story. I like how the world has been expanded and how, of course, I love Sarah's writing. It's going to give me every time. And I'm just ready to see what's going to happen. Like, we've just been getting a lot of background. It's been a lot of setup. And I'm ready for some stuff to pop off, because I feel like that's when it's going to really get good. So, yeah, those are my thoughts so far on the final Strife. Yeah. And this is me racing against my dying microphone. So yeah, not so much yapping this time. Maybe this needs to happen all the time. Anyway, yeah. Bye. Hey friends. So I am very, very, very excited to tell you that I have done a feat. Okay. I have finished the final Strife. Or did it finish me? Let's talk about it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold this heavy ass book up the whole time I talk, because y'all know I like to yap. But I'm gonna try. I don't even know what I want to talk about first. Let's talk about how this was a long book. This was a long book. How many pages is she? She was like 550, maybe. Yeah, I think we were like right at 550 pages. But baby, when I tell you, I felt every page of the 550 pages that I read. I felt it. I felt it. And that's also me acknowledging that each page was important. Each page was used to the best of its ability. I feel like there was a lot of story to tell in this first installment, and Saara did that. I Like I said, just because I felt that it was long doesn't mean that that's necessarily a bad thing all the time. And I also think I described it to Lex as it felt like I was trudging through mud while I was reading this book. And I know when you hear that, it sounds negative, but I promise it's not. This book is chock full of trauma and of bad things consistently happening to people, and you just want a break for them and you feel for them, and by the end of the book you love them and want what's best for them, but you know that the road ahead to get to those good things it's so long and they might not make it. And look, it's a lot. It's sad, it is frustrating, it's heartbreaking, it pisses you off, you're mad about the things that are happening to these people. And there's also so many parallels to things that are currently happening, and it's a lot, okay? And that's why I couldn't finish when I tried to read it in 2024, because I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, it's too much. But I was in a better headspace this time and was able to, deal with all of that. It was still hard to read, and that's why I described it as walking through mud. It was very hard to get through, but not because it was bad, but because you just felt so many emotions while reading it. Yeah. I would also check content trigger warnings if you're planning on reading this book and reading this series. There is abuse, there is addiction, there's withdrawals from drugs, there is just a lot of sad bad things happening in this book, but this story is so good. When I tell you Saara can write, Saara can write. But I also feel like after writing this series she needed to do something fun, and that is why we ended up getting Faybound, because this came out first and then she wrote Faybound. And I'm like, yeah, after the heaviness of this series she had to do something light and fun, because baby woo, yeah, yeah, yeah. I ended up rating this a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it just felt really long to me. And yeah, yeah, I, I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't a 5 star, but a 4.5 is what it was. And so I'm just going to go with that. And like, my only criticism, I think, is that it just felt really long and it was sad. Is there really a criticism? I don't know, but I do think that going forward, Saara has, and I'm on a first name basis where I'm gonna call her Saara. I think she has the potential to be an all-time favorite author of mine, and I love that for me, because I haven't read a book by her that hasn't. This is the lowest rated book that I have read by Saara El-Arifi. It is a 4.5. So, look, that should tell you all you need to know. I think that this is a very important story, and I think everybody should pick it up, but pick it up with caution and do your research, because you need to be okay when you read this. And if you're not okay, maybe just wait. Maybe just wait until you are okay before you give it a shot. Okay, so I'm back with not so great news. I have decided that I will be DNFing Blood at the Root by Ladarrion Williams. And don't come for me and don't try to beat me up, okay? Because no. So I'm going to read you the synopsis of this book and then we'll talk about what had happened. So, 10 years ago, Malik's life changed forever the night his mother mysteriously vanished and he discovered he had uncontrollable powers. Since then, he has kept his abilities hidden, looking out for himself and his younger foster brother Tay. Now at 17, Malik is finally ready to start a new life for both of them, far from the trauma of his past. However, a daring act to rescue Tay reveals an unexpected connection with his long lost grandmother, a legendary conjurer with ties to a hidden magical university that Malik's mother attended. At Cayman University, Malik's eyes are open to a future he never could have envisioned for himself, one that includes the reappearance of his first love, Alexis. His search for answers about his heritage, his powers, and what really happened to his mother exposes the cracks in their magical community as it faces a reawakened evil dating back to the Haitian Revolution. Together with Alexis, Malik discovers a lot beneath. Did the lights just blink? It's storming outside, but I'm gonna need this power to stay on. Or what's that mean? Did I blink? I don't know. Together with Alexis, Malik discovers a lot beneath the surface at Cayman, feuding covens and magical politics, forbidden knowledge, and buried mysteries. In a wholly unique saga of family, history, and community, Malik must embrace his legacy to save what's left of his old family as well as his new one. So basically, we have witches at an HBCU, with a black boy being the main character. Okay? That's what we got. And I tried reading this in 2024 and I just felt like I wasn't really in the mood for it. So I set it down with plans to come back to it. And this is when I came back to it. Okay. And I got about 131 pages in, which is about 33% before I decided to put it down for good. There's a couple of reasons for that. I personally just think that I am not the audience for this book. I think this book is very important. I will continue to talk about this book because I think more people need to pick it up and give it a shot. I just personally think that it's not for me, and that's okay. Like I said, I recognize the importance and I want other people to try and read it. And I think it's a really cool concept and I get what it was trying to do. I loved that there was so much information throughout this book that you don't really hear about when it comes to Black history or, just history in general. A lot of these things are skated over and that it talks about the reasons why that happens. And I think this would be a great book to start those conversations with younger Black children or even just any children in general, but specifically Black children. I think young Black boys need to see themselves in different ways. And this is a way that I think could be really, inspiring and just showing something different. I love that this book had a shout out to my girl Bonnie Bennett from the Vampire Diaries. We all know that she was very much mistreated as a character and was basically there to save the white characters by sacrificing herself and her family every time, and justice for Bonnie Bennett always. So I loved that that was in there. There was a lot of pop culture references actually, and while I did enjoy that, having pop culture references on every page, it just became a bit much for me. It became a bit much, and that was one of the things where I was just like, okay, maybe not for me. And also I'm kind of feeling like I'm moving into auntie status. I am brushing 30 and that is when I feel like I'm going to be officially an auntie. And look, I do think that there are going to be some young adult books just in general that aren't going to work for me anymore because I'm not the people that the books are targeted towards, and I'm okay with that. I am okay with aging out of YA, and I think this is just an instance of that. And yes. So to wrap this up, I do think this is very important. I love what it was trying to do. I'm still going to recommend this book, but it's just not one that I think I will resonate with, and I don't want to finish this and give it a bad rating. That's not what I want to do. So that's why I am going to DNF this. And so what that means is that now I have to choose another book to replace Blood at the Root. And I was looking at my blue books, and for some reason a mystery thriller was calling my name, which is rare. I do like to read mystery thrillers, but they are far and few in between, just because that's who I am as a reader. So, when the call came, I picked up and I answered. And I was going to try a chapter of two books, one of those being A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. And so I read my first chapter of A Curious Beginning, and I just kept going. I kept going, and so that's going to be the book that replaces Blood at the Root. I didn't even try the other. Y'all, I think the power is blinking. That cannot be me. Can it? Oh no, but let me hurry up before the power goes out, because look. So yeah, we're gonna swap Blood at the Root for A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn, which is the first book in the Verona. Who is Verona? Veronica Speedwell series, and we'll see what happens with that one. I don't know if y'all hear that thunder or not, but it is rattling my windows, so I'm gonna let y'all go. Bye. Okay, y'all. So let us talk about how I have finished A Curious Beginning and my notes, because I mainly listened to this while I was at work, and it was a pretty quick read. I mean, it was a cute little mystery in this. Let me. I'm not even gonna play with you because I don't. I never read the synopsis to this book ever. I've only heard people talk about it by word of mouth through their channels and stuff. So I don't even know what would be considered spoilery. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this good old synopsis, because yeah, and it just hit me that never read it before. A Curious Beginning is the first book in the Veronica Speedwell series. This is a historical mystery vibe. And it says, as the city prepares to celebrate Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, Veronica Speedwell is marking a lifestone of her own. After burying her spinster aunt, orphan Veronica is free to resume her world travels in pursuit of scientific inquiry and the occasional romantic dalliance. As familiar with hunting butterflies as with fending off admirers, Veronica wields her butterfly net and a sharpened hat pin with equal aplomb. My bad, y'all. I got a phone call that I had to take, so angle changed. My bad. All right, so we were talking about Veronica Speedwell, and it says Veronica wields her butterfly net and a sharpened hat pin with equal aplomb, and with her last connection to England gone, she intends to embark upon the journey of a lifetime. But fate has other plans, as Veronica discovers when she thwarts her own abduction with the help of the enigmatic German Baron who has ties to her mysterious past. Promising to reveal in time what he knows of the plot against her, the Baron offers her temporary sanctuary in the care of his friend Stoker, a reclusive natural historian as intriguing as he is bad-tempered. But before the Baron can deliver on his tantalizing vow to reveal the secrets he has concealed for decades, he is found murdered. Suddenly, Veronica and Stoker are forced to go on the run from an elusive assailant as wary partners in search of the villainous truth. Yeah, I didn't know any of that when I went into it, but that's okay. Okay, so what I want to say that this was a very easy read. I enjoyed my time with it. I liked the audiobook and the audiobook narrator. I thought that the story It was decently paced. I didn't really have any problems with that. I didn't think it was too long or too short. It felt like the right length. But right off the bat, I really enjoy Veronica as a main character. I like her personality. I like what she represents. She is smart mouthed, and I love that she is very truthful. She doesn't hold back her opinions, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. And to also go with that, the banter between Veronica and Stoker was so cool. Loved it. It was great, great banter. I love that in books. And you can tell that eventually Veronica and Stoker are going to have this romance of some sort, but it was just like them going back and forth and then having these moments and then like cooling off and then like having these moments. So like yeah, this is going to be a slow burn, probably all caps. And I think there are like 9 of these so far. So I don't know when things actually happen, but I can tell just from this one that it's going to be very drawn out, but not in a way that I think I would find annoying. Unfortunately, though, I feel like this didn't really stick out to me as much as I wanted it to. I had just heard so many people talk about how much they love this series, and I didn't feel the love. Like it was just okay to me. It was pretty good. And I honestly, at this point, don't even know if I plan to continue on with the series or not. I rated this a 3 star. It just didn't really stick out to me in the way that I hoped, but I still had a good time. I still think that it was good. It just wasn't amazing for me. And I do think though that this had really good reveals. I don't know if I was just like had empty no thoughts while I was reading it because I did not expect the reveals that we were getting and the plot twist, and I was like, oh, that's good. Like I really wasn't expecting that, and so I don't know if that was just a case of me not using my brain fully or if they were that good. I know that this is a series, and I just mentioned that it's a long series with like 9 or 10 books, but this story arc didn't feel like it was complete to me. And I don't know if this is going to be like a continuation plot or if it's going to be technically like interconnected standalones or if it's going to be like an overarching plot with different ones weaved in. But this one felt a little unfinished. And I don't know. Yeah, it just didn't fully feel like we completed what we needed to complete. And it wasn't even like cliffhangery like some books and series are. It just, I don't know. Something was missing from the ending for me. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe that's it. But yeah, 3 stars. I'm glad I did finally give it a chance just to see what the hype was about. I may continue on. It won't be anytime soon, and that probably means that I won't. But you never know. I might get in a mystery mood. And because I already know I feel like this is going to be like an easy series to like dive in and out of without having to read back to back because there's not a lot of world building because it's set in our world. You just have to remember characters. And I feel like, you can do that as you read. So, anyway, yeah, it was a fun time. Glad that I finally picked it up. And okay, so I am at chapter 25, which is page 250 of a novel love story. And I didn't know if I was going to finish this before I got to update, but I didn't finish it. So here we are talking about it, even though I have roughly 100 pages left. Let's talk about it. So, in this book, we're following Elsie, who is a very avid romance reader. She loves romance stories because, men in real life ain't all that great, but imaginary men will do it for you every time. And so basically, she is on her way to this bookish retreat, and her car breaks down, and it breaks down in Alorton. And Alorton just happens to be the town that is featured in her favorite romance series. So she is getting to meet all of her favorite characters from these books that she has read a million times and fall in love in real life with a place that she fell in love with through books. But she is also trying to figure out how she got here. Like how this happened. There's also this bookstore owner named Anders. Anders, why I don't know this man's name. And I've been reading this book. Um, what is his name? Anders. I was right. Yeah, that's Anders. Okay. So Anders is the bookshop owner in town, but he is not a character in the book. And so the author died before she got to finish the series. So Elsie thinks that the author was writing Anders' story when she died. So she is trying to figure out how to get out and also kind of fighting her feelings for Anders because she ends up, really liking him. But she knows that this is not a permanent situation. And she kind of it starts getting involved in the character's life and messing things up and just, all the regular craziness that happens in a situation like this. As I have been reading this, the first thing that I want to point out is that this is a very bookish person book. Like they're really, there's these really cute quotes about reading and feelings that you just like won't really understand unless you are a reader and have gotten lost in the book, and all those feelings are just being captured in the writing. It's just so pretty in that way. And so I have a lot of tabs in here of like really cute bookish quotes that I have enjoyed. Now, Elsie as a main character is a little annoying. And that is unfortunate. She's not annoying to the fact where I'm rolling my eyes like every time she says something, but there's just some things that she does, and I'm just like, girl, why are you doing that? Quit. Stop acting like that. So, yeah, that's something. And then halfway through this book, when I got to around page 200, it started feeling like I was being set up to be disappointed. Because so far I have liked everything that I have read. I'm not saying that this is a new 5 star for me, but I'm liking it. I'm vibing. I'm enjoying it even. But now that well, I started feeling this around the halfway point, which is about 200-ish pages. And I'm still actually halfway is not 200 pages. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, once I got about 200 pages in, I feel like I was starting to be set up because I don't know where this story is going. I have 100 pages left, and I don't know where this story is gonna go. It's already like a slow story to begin with. So like what are we gonna do? How is this going to end? And I feel like that something is gonna happen that's gonna piss me off and like change my whole vibe of this book. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like that foreshadowing for myself. I'm hoping that I improved wrong and I'll come back and tell you that, this was still a winner for me, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I really don't have a lot to say about that. We're gonna keep pushing on it and I'll be back when I finish it. I am a person who usually loves being right. But this time I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. So I finished a novel love story. And y'all know what I said in that clip before about being set up to be disappointed. I'm not even disappointed. I'm pissed off. This ending pissed me off. Because why would you do that? Ashley, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And I feel like it's going to be very hard for me to even explain to you my feelings about this without spoiling it. And so I'm gonna tiptoe around it, and I might get close to it, but I'm trying really hard not to spoil it. Okay, okay. So we have Anders and Elsie. And I think it's very obvious that Anders is going to be the love interest. Okay, so that's not a spoiler. Okay, but to have them finally decide to give it a try, only to then rip it away. And I'm not even going to tell you the reason why it's ripped away, because that is actually what pissed me off. To have that ripped away and then to have them separate for so long and then to have Anders come back in like he did. Absolutely not. Me and Anders would not have anything to talk about. And that's also like leads into why I don't like second chances, because there is no reason for you to mess up the first one. Do you know what you have to do to mess up a first chance? Like, to make me not want anything to do with you. But like, also, you're not gonna not choose me. And I'm done talking about it. That's it, that's all. So yeah, the ending really pissed me off. And I rated this a 3.5 star. But if I sit and think about it too much longer, it's gonna be lower. And this was a very nice, meandering, cozy story. Not a whole lot going on. You just in it for the vibes. It kind of reminds you of watching like Gilmore Girls or like any kind of show like that just gives you cozy and you ain't like anxious like reading a fantasy book because you don't know what's about to happen and the characters are all in turmoil and things like that. Like, it's none of that. Like, it's very chill and I was enjoying it. And the way that this talks about the experience of being a reader, being someone who can get lost in stories, who just enjoys books, like, I was here for all of that. And then that's what you do, Ashley. I was not a fan. And so maybe that is what people were talking about when they were like, we don't like this book, because that's the only thing that I've seen reading this where it deserves the bad ratings that it was getting. Everything else I was okay with. So disappointing. It's so frustrating that this is supposed to be a romance and this is supposed to be like seen as romantic. This is not romantic. At least not to me anyway. I don't want to accept that as what romance is supposed to be. No. So yeah, I would recommend this. I would. I think it's, I don't have it like, besides that, I enjoyed myself. I was enjoying myself up until that. And that's what pissed me off, because like, if you had told me that that was what was going to happen, I wouldn't even read this book. Because why would I read the entire book just to hate the ending? I wouldn't. It would be a waste of time. And that's what I feel like, it was a waste of my time. But anyway, 3.5 stars. We finished her. I am glad that I finally read it, because people talk about Ashley Poston's writing, and this is the only book of hers that like sounds like something I would even kind of sort of like. So I was happy to finally get to experience her writing in one of her books. I did like the writing. I did like the way that, you know, she told the story. I just wasn't a fan of the ending. And that's all I have to say about this book. Moving on. finished Advika and the Hollywood Wives by Kirthana and Ramisetti, and this was actually a really quick read. Like, the text on the page was really big, and so even though it was a little under 400 pages, the text was so big it didn't feel like that at all. And also, I just feel like this was a fast read in general, so I was able to fly through it. So let's talk about this book. This is literary fiction, okay, but it's also like literary mystery in my opinion, because the mystery of this book is the plot. That's what the plot is, but also it's very meandering and like that lit fic way of telling about a person's life and just kind of following along with it, and then that mystery becomes a part of their lives. So we follow Advika, who is an aspiring screenwriter, and while she is waiting to blow up, I guess you could say, she works as a bartender and took a gig to work at the governor's ball. I think that's what it's called. It's the Oscars after party. And while she's working, she meets Julian. And Julian is this multi-Oscar winning producer, and they hit off and have this whirlwind romance and end up married before the year is up. Okay, now that sounds all cute and all, but Julian is 41 years older than Advika. Let's start there. Let's start there. And so Julian automatically gives creep vibes, but not only that, Advika is Julian's third or fourth wife. And so Advika knows this, and when she tries to ask him about his past, he very smoothly avoids the subject. And so about a month or so into their marriage, Julian's first wife, Evie, dies. And in Evie's will, she says that she leaves like a little clause or whatever to Julian's newest child bride, referring to Advika, saying that if she divorces Julian, she will get a film reel and $1 million. And so Advika is like, hold on. Why would this woman offer me money to leave Julian? It's not like they can get back together or something like that because she's dead. So that leads Advika on this investigation, if you will, where she digs into the lives of Julian's previous wives, and not only that, but the reasons why they broke up, because two of them left the country after dealing with Julian. One of them basically committed suicide in a way, I guess you could say. And so they all have very tragic things happen to them. And Advika is like, hold on, am I next? Like, hold on, I need to figure out what happened to them. And so I can figure out how to get myself out of the situation. And that's where the mystery plot comes in, because she's like, who is Julian? What happened to these women? Why did Evie leave me this in her will? And baby, when I tell you we went on an adventure, And this book was, y'all, something is in my eye. I think it's my hair, but like, I'm struggling. This book was not easy for me to read. First off, I am not a fan of age gaps at all. Never will be, never will think it's cute. If you want to do that, I really hope that you don't, but you know, that's just how I feel personally about age gaps. Not a fan. So to have a 41-year age gap, no. And then for Julian to not allow Advika to be herself, to tell her that she needs to change in order to, you know, live up to who he is. He has to pick out all of her clothes. He doesn't like what she likes. Like, he very much is controlling and a creep, and yeah, okay. And he never does anything to like physically or outright emotionally hurt Advika, but the things he does is very underhanded. Like the things that he put in the prenup, oh, that pissed me off. And just some of the things he did was creepy, okay? So yeah, so that made it a little hard to read, but just the tone of the book, you can tell that Advika is eventually going to get away from him, and so that's what I was holding on to. Advika is also Indian, and that is something that is discussed in this book as well. I liked learning about, Indian culture, but also seeing the parallels of how, Indian people are treated and how that can, how that is kind of similar to how people will treat black people. So, some of the things she was saying, I was like, girl, facts, okay? And also just about being in your late 20s, trying to figure out life when your dream doesn't exactly pan out how you want it to be. And know going into this that Advika is a twin. She lost her twin sister very recently in a very random, horrific way. And so this is also a lot about grief and Advika trying to move on and figure out how to live life without her twin sister. And yeah, I wasn't aware that it would be so heavy in grief because I don't even think it mentions anything about her. Oh yeah, it does in the first sentence. I must have missed that. But yeah, this is a book, okay? This is a book and it does a lot more than I was expecting it to. Now, what I did not love about this book is the epilogue. And I wish that I did not read the epilogue because it kind of pissed me off. And I don't know that I agree with the decision that was made in the epilogue. I don't know if that's fair, or if I stand behind that or not. But it was an epilogue. It was. So I think my rating for this, it's not fully a 4, but it's not a 3.5. But I don't give quarter stars. So I think I'm just gonna lean into the 3.5. There's a lot of good about this book, and I probably will pick up more from Kirthana and Ramisetti because I do like her writing style. But there were some things that I just didn't really vibe with, and I do feel like it went in some circles at some points, and I don't think there was ever like a lull or a dull moment, but I just felt like we spent too long in certain areas, not long enough in others, and yeah, simple as that. It's gonna be a 3.5 star. I am happy that I finally picked this up after having it on my shelf since 2023. So, one of the oldest books on my TBR is Red. And, I just knew that when I saw this that it was going to be something that I liked. And it is. And I'm happy that I picked it up. And it'll be one that I will be recommending going forward because I just think more people need to read it, experience something a little different, and, have a good time. Yeah. Alrighty, friends. So it is now time for us to wrap up this blue cover color challenge video, see where we ended up, and if blue was able to beat out green or not. We read the final Strife, which was a 4.5 star, A Curious Beginning, which was a 3 star, A Novel Love Story, which was a 3.5 star, and Advika and the Hollywood Wives, which was also a 3.5 star. So our average rating for the blue cover books was a 3.36. And that is surprising to me because, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, out of all of the blue books that I read last year, it was a 2.7. And that was one of, if not the lowest rated color for me last year. So to see the blues get a 3.63, a little surprised. A little surprised. And to wrap up this video, our standings as of having the green and blue videos finished, we have blue in first place with that 3.63 and green in second place currently with the 3.38. And nobody's more surprised than me at that. I was for sure thinking that green was going to take it just because green is my favorite color in real life, but I guess that goes to show you never really know. Anyway, Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, anything that you do to support me and my channel. It's very much appreciated. I hope that you have the best day that you possibly can. And remember to take care of yourself. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye. Oh, yeah, wait. The next color is going to be pink. Sorry, I meant to say that before. Be on the lookout for the pink cover color challenge coming soon. Now, bye for real.